Hello, everybody from the heart of Lovecraft Country and the birthplace of American religious liberty. My name is Sean Thingetti. You're watching Sean Thingetti Art, or at least what's left of him. We're not going to have too horribly long of a stream today because tomorrow is Mrs. Thingetti's birthday. So, little Miss E, my daughter, and I are taking her out to dinner tonight. So I got to get ready for that. Try to turn this into something, but it's great to see you guys. I hope you're doing well. I've got some cool stuff happening, lots of fun stuff to talk about. One of them is something I've been chewing over for a while, and we'll get to that in a second. But let me say hey to you guys real quick and see who we've got here. We've got Cursed Art Creations. How are you doing? It is great to see you. I believe the infamous Mr. Cursed was in the chat first, if I'm not mistaken. What's up, Leighton? Welcome to channel membership. It is great to have you with us. We've got Alpha Channel, amen, family first, 100%. Alpha Channel, hello, and it's great to see you, channel member. Glad to have you with us. Corey Landis is here. What's up? What it do? It do what it do. And there we go. There's infamous Mr. Cursed. And then there's Bar Stewart. Woot, woot. What's up, Bar Stewart? How are you doing, my friend? Great to see all of you guys. So here's the deal, as Robert Downey Jr. would say. So I've been thinking about doing a show. I've been asked about doing a show, and I've been talking about doing a show for a while where basically I looked at people's artwork and I did what I did for 20 years when I was a visual arts college professor. So I've been chewing over that for a while, and one of the things about that kind of thing is one of the things about doing that kind of thing is when I got to the point where I was like I'm done teaching. I kind of just, I just didn't feel like I had anything really that I was, interested in doing after that. I mean, it was a big change. It was a big decision. And even though I like teaching, just sort of seeing how that was used and all of the things that go along with it, I wanted to teach art. I want to teach people how to draw and paint better. And more of the insanity of the anti-art, as far as I'm concerned, politics, came into play there. And so a bunch of different wild things happened. We did a kind of a like a portfolio review thing, a really short portfolio review thing on hard art, which I think we've done a couple of times. I think I've done some paint intos of things on Kang's when I was on there, when John's on John's channel. And it was just something that was such to me, every time I look at something, I go, okay, I think I know how I can show people how to make sense of this and what that particular thing is. Obviously, that's what I did. And so I've been toying with this idea of doing a show called Bare Knuckle Art School. And the idea, what's up? How are you doing? Good to see you. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. It'll end in tears. But I started sitting back, and because I was going through a lot of folders, and I was seeing former student testimonials of mine, like, people who were working at Google and working in the gaming industry and DreamWorks and museum installations, all of that kind of stuff. And I was sitting there, I was looking at it, and I was thinking, and then of course this show, what we've been doing here, Comics and Curios Inside the Studio, a lot of things like that. And I got to figure out what a goal would be, like what would be something I could do, like if there's and exactly how I would go about looking at the work. But I've got some ideas. I'll run by the rough intro for this thing, but it would have to be something like, I'd have to have like a super chat goal or something, to do it. But I don't even know. I've got to figure out what it is a little bit better. But doing the show with you guys, one of the things that's been so interesting, I need my hat. Where is Stephen Rockwood to tell me to put my hat on, by the way, And I hope everyone's having a wonderful, wonderful Sunday, by the way. But it's everybody say, where do I sign? There you go. Yes, do it. Oh my gosh, are you guys in cahoots? Are you guys in cahoots together? My goodness. Let me see here. Everybody's saying hello. Interesting, yeah. So here's kind of the thing about it, and here's the thing about how to talk about what we do here. So you guys have been getting a peek into essentially what it was like in my classroom. Whenever I would teach, I would bring in tons and tons of books, And when I was an associate professor and full-time professor, towards the tail end of my teaching career, I even built a library of my own books that were in the classroom for people to be able to, so I could point to them, they could look at them. They wouldn't have to worry if they could necessarily afford them, and then, they could study them outside of class, which I thought was great. And that's the thing that's kind of was sort of interesting about it, is the more I've been doing this show, and I really enjoy it, and talking about books with you guys, talking about art, having you guys inside of the studio space, the more that natural progression has been kind of popping into my head. Make a small comic from start to finish, going through every process on stream. Here's the thing. What I'm interested in doing more so than any of that, because there's so much of that online in terms of the tutorials, I think I'm more interested in breaking things down where someone's like, here's what I'm trying to do for a scene or a page, or here's something I'm working on right now. What could I do to improve it? Because, when I do my own stuff, and I guess that's part of it, right? When I do my own stuff, when I do my own work, and I'm doing this kind of stuff, I'm kind of free to do it, and I never was one to do disconnect. Well, I did some disconnected demos. They were few and far between, but usually it was right on the work. What's up, Darth Gutierrez? Good to see you, man. Why do school administrators seem to be the enemies of both students and teachers? Because they're political. Because bureaucracy and administration, by its very nature, is largely political. Their hands aren't getting dirty in the classroom. We've grown the administrative class in both public education at colleges to the point to where I think there were 2 administrators at Brown University for every student, which is absolutely insane. And it costs $92,000 a year to go there, I think. If I'm not mistaken, it'll be 6 figures soon. And I bring this up. Oh, yeah, I absolutely will not be, in a million years, stopping the stream. What's up, Bruce Campbell's Chin? How are you doing, brother? It's great to see you. And hail, Shadowhawk Talks. Great to see you as well. So I will not stop doing the show. This show right now, to me, is the anchor of what I'm doing on this channel. I'd have to find another day to do the other show. I've got hard art on Wednesdays. I do Kings on Mondays on occasion when it's not a birthday or something. Stuff always falls on Mondays. It's driving me nuts. But it's great in this case. My wife has the same birthday as Frank Frazetta. His birthday's tomorrow too, so I'm doing all right for myself. But I definitely want to do that. But the thing that I always say about just to go back to the administrators thing and the basic aspect of that is that what they've done, administrators are incredibly brilliant, and they're in terms of what they've done. It's a beautiful play. Like if you're interested, like if you want to see an example of something that's pure evil, look at the administrative play in education, and I could actually track it back. I did all this research to the what was it called? Teacher accountability invention, which was at the tail end of the Carter administration and introduced not teacher accountability and how good are the teachers. It was about pushing socialist ideas inside the classroom, and I downloaded it. Anybody who signs up to that site, maybe you have to pay a fee, can download it. It's insane how long this stuff has been going on. But just to make it simple, administrators come up with all of these obnoxious things that teachers don't want to do. They're not interested in pushing inside the classroom. What is up, channel member and OG Cranberry Landers? It's great to see you, brother. Happy Sunday. So they push all these things on the teachers to do. And some teachers are going to go along with it, and teachers who don't want to go along with it, either they're able to hold the line or they've got too many teachers who are totally indoctrinated coming in. And then what they do is they turn, when the teachers are forced to do all these ridiculous things, and yes, there are nuts teachers out there, but that's all you're seeing, then they blame the teachers for it going south. And it's nuts. And what you're seeing right there is, here's the funny thing about that. If you had the choice to be in class or feel like you were doing something important, I was a high school student once, or pretending to do something important to get out of class, you'd do it. So what would stop that 1, 2, 3, or 4 teachers from dragging the entire school outside and interrupting the day? Administrators saying you're not allowed to do this, period, or you're fired. When they stop, they basically pit the students against the teachers who want to have class. Oh, you're a racist. Let me cancel you. Do you guys get how it works? It's actually pretty brilliant when you think about it. Again, like I said, it's depraved and it's evil, but it's pretty brilliant. So they've been pulling that off with having students be the secret police of their college professors, Then they graduate and the administration's like, I'm sorry, who are you again with $500,000 in debt? Oh yeah, that's right, but I don't need you anymore. And they've got no skills. Does that make sense? Like how that stuff works? So they interrupt classes of, like, okay, if you go over to a kid's house, or, you know, don't go over to a kid's house. If you go over to a kid's, well, actually, if you're a parent and you go over to a kid's house, and you're your own kid, to be clear, and you say, hey, listen, we can either go over math today, or I'm going to give you an Xbox. What do you want to do? It's pretty tough, right? So there's always been kids who like to say, oh, I'm going to make, intelligent evil is worse than unintentional evil. Well, yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? Because you never, have any of you guys, do me a favor and hit ones in the chat if you have. How many of you guys have heard people complaining about, until recently, actually, I would say you didn't hear it, the Department of Education and administrative bloat and public education versus teachers' unions? Which one of those have you heard more people screaming about and safer about, which is, that's their genius. If you could see their salaries and where it's going, that's what destroyed education in this country. More spending and more directing by administrators. It's terrible. Yeah, never do math. I'm sorry, don't do math. It's bad. It's a terrible thing. Let's see. 2 is... Oh, 2. No, I was saying if you've heard people complain about administrators more than teachers unions, hit a 1 in the chat. If you haven't, hit a 2. I've almost never heard anyone do that in general public discourse, and I thought, wow, that's really brilliant. Like, that's, if you think about it as a strategy, it's incredibly smart and strategic. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about what I'm going to do today, because I'm going to have some fun, but I want to talk about an artist, because this is Comics and Curios Inside the Studio, and I've got something for you that is really perfect for what we're talking about today. Hey, what's up? Mark's Music Obsession just pulled in from 10. No! 1 and 2. There you go. Well, that's a good mix-ish. I think that's a decent mix. Hail Brother Sean just pulled in from Tennessee. I love it. Glad to be back in the Sunshine State. I bet you are. What was the weather like in Tennessee? I think I misunderstood the choice. Listen, I misunderstood my own question, Corey Landis. Yes, so here's the thing I wanted to show you guys that may seem like a non sequitur, and if it is, that's fine, because I'm a few French fries short of a Happy Meal today. The weather here has just been nuts. So, let me talk to you about a few things real quick with art, education, and everything else. All right, if you get nothing else from me in general, right? Outside of beautiful comic books, which I'm really excited. I heard back from the printer, and we're getting things together now, thank God. There was a miscommunication on their end, but we're sorting it out. And so this is the thing. So I went off to what is considered, or was considered at the time, the Harvard of art schools. It has a ridiculously low acceptance rate. I got in there when I was 17, and I was just, they offered me a scholarship, all that kind of stuff. That's just to lay down a base coat. And then I taught there as a senior critic and had the highest wait list for my classes consistently for, 15 years maybe? I think it was 15 years. So all that's a base coat, right? We're going to put that down as a base coat. I thought when I went off to college, someone was going to teach me how to draw things to look like the things. We're going to talk about anatomy and movement and animation and how to render form and all of that stuff. And instead what we did was we sat in a classroom, we talked about concept. And we talked about ideas. And if you could find that class where someone was teaching you actual skills and actual drawing, it was mind-bending. You know, you were just like, oh, and everybody tried to get in the class, which is sadly why so many of my classes were packed, was because nobody was teaching people how to do things. And that's what's got me thinking about the play they have and the play I have and my interest in doing something like this. So here you go. I had the opportunity to go down and intern at Gaijin Studios under Brian Stelfreeze, and I got to meet a lot of those guys there. They were incredible. They were very, very generous with their time. And having this college kid, Joe College, come down and and it was great. It was near where I grew up, and I could drive there, and it was going back and forth. I learned a ton. What's up, Michelle Bowers? It is great to see you. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. Great to see you too, Darth Gutierrez. Wow, you were a powerhouse in your career university. It was nuts, man. It was a tough thing. It was a tough thing to leave, but it was also they gotta want you to be doing the thing you're good at. You know what I mean? What's up, Art Haida? I would sign up for Shantiversity in a heartbeat. Well, first I gotta tell you all the downsides of learning from me. So anyway, I went down there, and I went down to Gaijin Studios. And I was just blown away. Brian Stelfreeze is hands down one of the most incredible teachers and minds you will ever meet when it comes to talking about comics and storytelling. To me, he's the Howard Pyle of the comic book industry in so many ways. I mean, he's just got that quality, and he keeps to himself. If he gives you his time, then you should just be fortunate for the rest of your life and just say thank you, period. Like that's the way it is for me with Brian, how I feel about it. And but one of the things that was really great is I got a chance when I was still teaching at college to take him out to dinner and ask him, actually, let me grab that book. This will make some kind of sense. Chill for a second here. One sec. I don't know why I'm not... What is it AJ says on Y-Files? This is not a professional show. This dude right here. This dude. Okay? Look at this. I wish this book would go back in print. Okay, I'll come back to that, Prater7. Good question. Remind me if I forget in a bit. But I want you to imagine what it's like. He's the only person I ever met that I ever met personally, who would get out have his color wheel on his desk. He was thinking about color to this incredible level, even though neither of us, I think, see color. Brian is truly hilarious, and he's a good dude. And does great work. So if you've ever seen this work, you know Brian. Hey, Cursed Art Creations just became a member. That's great. Is someone gifting memberships or something? Did I miss something? Let me know if you just became a member. Oh yeah, you did. It wasn't gifted. So thank you so much, Cursed Art Creations, and thank you so much, brother. Oh, this is gonna drive me crazy because I can see your name and I have no idea. Michael Dicha? Is it Michael Dicha? Let me know if I'm right. I want to make sure my my memory is still working. It might not be. Sorry if I'm wrong. No, mine ran out and I needed it back. Oh, gotcha. Well, let me send you a cheerleader here because that's what we do here. And hopefully I got the name right. Yep. See? Look at me go. I'm not totally gone yet. Here we go. There you guys go. Okay, so here we go. Here is the signature art of Brian Stelfreeze. Now, I got to make sure I skip over stuff that is can't be shown. Oh, gosh, it's like, well, she's wearing clothes, but we'll put it over there. This is Brian's stuff, okay? Look at this. The guy is just so generous and so great. So everything for me that I started thinking once I went to school and when I went to college was, I remember thinking after those summers, I would come back and teach my classmates, many of whom ended up in the industry. And on top of that, which is where I really started teaching, I was teaching people all the time in my dorm room. People were like going, man, like, we're not shocked you became a teacher, Sean. That's what you were doing with all of us. You were teaching us composition and perspective. It was so funny, man. We were such young kids. So anyway, after Brian taught me, I was just like, I didn't understand why. How do I put it? Brian knows how to teach, and I didn't understand fully how separate of a skill teaching is from just being able to make art. There's some people who really know how to teach it. You can tell because they have students like N.C. Wyeth in Howard Pyle's case, and Brian has students that you guys know who are unbelievable and successful artists. Even, it's crazy. It's absolutely incredible, like, how many people he's affected, including teaching me. Just is an outstanding artist. But look at these paintings and the likenesses on these paintings. Sorry, I'm trying to give you guys a better angle here on it. But look at that. In case anybody's wondering, Grace Kelly and Audrey Hepburn are a nightmare to illustrate. And this is Brian doing his thing. Yep, Julie Newmar. You saw it. And then here's his process. Look at this. This book needs to get reprinted for sure. I mean, come on. Do you guys see what I'm talking about? These are the kinds of demos and things and photos. And here's your color wheel. Here's what we're doing with the color. It's I think it's out of print, and it probably costs a fortune to try to get it now. And I'm sorry to say that, too, because I would have bought a second copy. Boom Studios put it out, so it might be worth, messaging them and saying, are they going to make this for sale again at some point? But the biggest thing is, I mean, guys, like, I could if I stop on every page, I'd be justified. Like, this is where it started and it stopped for me, art-wise. Like, this is where it happened, man. You know, and I look at it and I just think, why is it so hard to find people who know how to teach? And the answer is really simple. If you can make a hostile environment for anybody with integrity through administrative, what they actually refer to as, look it up. They call it, I know it seems a bit overstated, but administrative violence, which is the use of accusation and administrative harassment to silence people is basically it. And administrators were supposed to, look at this stuff, guys, we're supposed to administer things, and then they started dictating things. Because they found that if they could get the students, who are far more numerous, use them as useful fools during their 4 years, leave them with a bunch of debt, and then erode teachers, that was going to be a great gig for them. And they figured it out. I have no idea why commissions happen the way they do, but Brian gets the coolest commissions. Catwoman in Hello Kitty boots. Who would have thought? Just incredible stuff. Oh my gosh, man. Look at these guys. Do you guys get what I'm saying? It's nuts. More process stuff, but let me show you what Brian's greatest gift to me ever was, where is it? These, I want to make sure I find the ones that are closest to what I saw. These are kind of there. These are a little bit more rendered. Hold on a sec. Oh, here we go. Brian actually taught me what layout pages were supposed to be. And here you go. What is up, Maromi? Shoot, my shoulder just went. Dang it. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Oh, I don't know if you heard that, but worth it. Let me see here. Got my man Maromi here. Let's see. Tenure and guaranteed government loans ruin things. Yeah, that definitely did. And we can talk about why. Someday we should, like, I don't know, over... I'm teetotal, so, like, over a soda, you have a beer, whatever tickles your fancy. We could talk all about how tenure was enacted, then it was stopped deliberately to protect a particular political ideology, which I'm sure they'll reinstate it again, just to keep that stuff in education. Like, I don't even doubt it. But they did make one mistake. They left me alive. So, yes, it is, Leighton. It is so great. Yes, Mark's Music Obsession. This dude is the dude. It is inspired. So, here you go. Here you go, guys. So, I always thought that layout pages were scribbles that you did. And that's what my teachers were kind of showing me. They were saying, all right, we'll use tracing paper, then we scribble, and then, or you draw it once small, then you draw it big. To me, that seemed like an incredible waste of time, which is because I didn't, that's not what layout pages actually are supposed to be. And it was Brian who said that, no, you're supposed to solve problems with your layout pages. And I think his exact quote was, your finishes, which I don't take all the way across the board because I think there's things that happen in the finish, so he was trying to overstate it to me as a student. But he said, or as a young artist too as well, he said, your finishes are the excrement of your layouts. Your layouts are where you solve it. And where do you learn layout? Because I know a lot of people are talking about that, like layouts. You learn layout from copying layout pages. Like people, I'm sorry, copying the layouts of master artists. You have to do that. Copying was a part of the French Academy. All this stuff, when they destroyed all the plaster casts of great works of art, all that stuff was done to as a war on skill, as a part of their de-skilling. And that's how we got here. And as you can tell, I'm very passionate about teaching, right? So I started explaining to people, and Brian helped me to see that the layout page process was not ever intended to be this. Yes, Will Eisner is a perfect example. Exactly. Will Eisner, who are some really great people. Stelfreeze is great. I would say stay away from Mike Mignola. Big time stay away from Mike Mignola, because he has his thing nailed down so much. People can't seem to get past his style and his layouts and where they merge, which is one of those things. But yeah, he is absolutely great in terms of his layouts. But Frank Miller is great to look at because he's over the top. You can look at Frank's stuff and it's wonderful. What is up, Colonel Zaid? How are you doing? Great to see you. Another art morning. Mignola, indeed, indeed. And then we have laughter there. Yeah, reduce the errors from the past. Wouldn't that be nice? And so, yeah, so I studied teaching. I studied the history of when all this stuff started with a book that's out of print called by... Shoot, what is his name? This is going to drive me crazy. His last name is KEOWN'S, and it's called The Unchanging Arts. It was published in the 70s. It saw all of this stuff coming. If you've never want to read a book that will just... It eviscerates the fine arts. Read that book. Yes, indeed. An Electra, of course. So these were, and then here's the word balloon placement. I should show this to John, shouldn't I, at some point? Speaking of John, at the end of this month, we're going to be doing a He-Man toy comic book review. If you're a member on John Malin's channel, I'll see you there. Usually I'm on those things, so make sure you do subscribe to his channel, become a channel member. It's great. Hail Cranberry says, Colonel Zaid, it's great to have you here. Art Haida, love that pig, man. I've spent many a minute staring at how Frank Miller lays things out. Just incredible stuff. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Let me see here. So, yeah, so this is the thing I want to read before we go after. This is talk about a brilliant self-portrait. If you know Brian, it's such a great solve for his self-portraits. So there's a page over here on right here that's text. Apologies, I know we don't come to my streams for text, but here you go. And I want to make sure I read this to you guys with my reading ability, because it explains what I've been dealing with thinking about teaching again. I owe my career to an accident of timing, miscommunication, and a group of wise old men. In the early 80s, I was a student at the Art Institute of Atlanta and in pursuit of a career in the field of illustration. I started getting restless during my second year of school and decided to seek a professional opinion of my portfolio. Always a good idea. After almost an entire day of rejections, an art director put me in touch with an illustration studio, Whole Hog Studios. 1 week later, I was there for my scheduled appointment and eager for a review, but I was offered a job instead. It seemed the studio had an opening for a new member, and was in the process of reviewing portfolios to fill that position. Let me see. I had no prior work knowledge of this, but of course I accepted and started work immediately. Bob Boyd, the head of the studio, later said he hired me not necessarily for the quality of my work, but more for the promise my portfolio showed. And that is a big thing. A big thing right there. It was a gift to stand in their court and receive what seemed like endless torrents of information. A font of amassed knowledge of picture-making techniques passed from one generation of illustrators to the next. And I was becoming a link in that great chain, and that is what this stuff is about. This started a journey in education and experience that continues to this day. The illustrators that in that studio taught me far more than I could ever learn at any art school or university. Same for me. When it comes to Gaijin, and equipped me with the best tools for a perpetual career in the field. It is impossible to return their generosity, so I try and pay it forward. And you can read the last paragraph by pausing this later. But that is why teaching was so important to me, and that's why I was doing it. And that's really what it's about. And so I want to show you one of Brian's students who recently passed away, and I just got a book collecting his work. And more than anything, when Brian showed me his work, it taught me color theory, and that's Jason Pearson, the artist, the writer of Body Bags, who passed away a couple of years ago. I didn't spend a lot of time talking to Jason. He pretty much was private, and kept to himself as far as that stuff goes. What's up, Jeremy Burtz? It's great to see you, brother. Happy Sunday. But we did share a laugh in the hallway, and he was always nice. And looking at his color sketch layouts was made me really, him and Brian's work on Maximum Velocity, this Blanc Noir character he was developing, taught me color theory single-handedly in a way that college didn't. So we talk about discipline and skill and structure and what is, what makes for good artwork, what makes for great artwork. And then there's this other thing called talent. It's that it quality. And Brian, I remember Brian once told me that Jason, imagine this, guys. This is, your ego has to leave the building. And I guess I should probably preface with this. And this is what it would be like if I was doing portfolio reviews on this channel, and I'm still chewing over it. But it would be like this. I said to Brian once, why did you help me? Why did you let me intern there? Why did you let me keep coming by the studio to show my artwork? I didn't understand it. And Brian said to me, we gave you the same opportunity we gave everybody. You weren't anybody special in terms of what we were doing. It's just, we ripped everybody to shreds, including you, when you showed your portfolio. We said, you got to fix this. This is horrible. What are you doing? Da, 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 da. And you were the guy who kept coming back. And when you kept coming back, we went, okay, he can hang with us. It's the best compliment. It's not the first time I've heard that, but hearing it from Brian was probably by far one of the best compliments ever. And so we get back to this. There's no room for egos in this stuff. And I remember it never even I was talking to Brian and I was talking about how a great teacher he is. And I said, well, I think Jason's incredible. And he said to me, he goes, of all the artists that I have mentored, Jason is the most naturally gifted. That's what he said. I remember him saying that to me at the time. He goes, I give him one bit of advice and he comes back and he's innovated on 3 or 4 different things. I show him one thing and then he runs off and does his own research. And as we flip through this book, which again, I just got the other day, it really is, I'm so grateful that you can actually get this book on Stuart Eng. If you don't have it, they're still available. There's an artist edition of his work. But you can actually really see Jason's evolution as an artist. When you look at this, see if I can move this over here a little bit. There we go. You can see his evolution as an artist. Good to see you, Flutterbat. How are you doing? Hope you're well. And I love John's art review streams. They're great, aren't they? Fantastic to see you do something similar. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I've got to see where I'm at with it. I'm still debating with myself the whole thing because, yeah, it's a lot. But look at just the power and the purpose of Jason's mark making is ridiculous. This guy is so good and was such a brilliant artist. I still can't believe he's gone. Honestly, I still can't. But look at how good this guy is. So yeah, you can see his progression in this stuff. I mean, he was always progressing. Always. Here's his character designs. This design I thought was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. It was a design for a character called a wolf spider in its mouth. And this is way before Guillermo del Toro's Blade 2. But a lot of people came up with things like this, I'm sure. But it's very like that. He had come up with this mandible and mouth that would open up when they attacked. And I just thought it was incredible. I don't teach Chuckle 6858. I don't teach how to draw comics for beginners. I used to teach comics at 2 colleges, but what I do, I think what I'm interested in doing more these days is people who have got comics that they're drawing, they're working on. And again, you'll see all my like terms. I made a little short video. That's a potential show opener if I decide to do it, but it also lays down ground rules. And so that's when that's the next conversation. He did amazing cars, guys. Sorry, I gotta show a little love to these cars he would draw. These things were beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, I don't even know if I have a, like, I just teach, you know. Okay, so here's my one compliment I'll pay myself today, and you can mark this down. We'll put the date on the calendar. When it came to me being on a campus and the illustration departments I was in, I was always the best teacher in those departments. Always. I never said it. I always downplayed it. But I learned there were downsides to downplaying it, you know, big downsides to downplaying it, and not acting like it, because it's just not a good idea. But I can teach anybody art who wants to learn and who's motivated. It's just, that's the way it is. So like Jason is with comics, I am with teaching. I'm just a natural. I didn't have to learn how to do it. I just walked in and crushed it. But look at this stuff. Just, I mean, oh God, this is something that just, you got it or you don't. Yeah, it's true. That's right. I think being a part of CG is the right community is used to being labeled, yes, every slur under the sun, harder for you to hurt our feelings. That's right, critique. Well, listen, here's the funny thing about it. How do I put it? Jeez, thank you, Zayd. All right, now we can stop. That's enough. That's enough out of you guys. See, you can tell I was terrible at it. I mean, some of the worst teachers in the world would be like, as a genius, I can't imagine why these plebs want to take your class. And I'd be like, wow, you're saying that to my face, man. It's because you've never done a drawing in your life. Isn't that weird? You teach illustration and all you do is talk about it? That's kind of strange. It's that level of nuts. But when you look at this stuff, Jason has that thing. Jason has it. I hate that. Jason is a comic artist. He's comics. This is what he does. It's brilliant. I draw comics. I illustrate. I paint comics are my love. I've been doing comics since I was like 14 and all that stuff. You guys know the story. But when you see somebody who's just got something special, at least for me, I think that's the case. You got to be able to tip your cap and go, they're in their own league. Like, look at these facial expressions and facial studies. These are great, man. And if you are bothered by the fact that somebody is out drawing you and out cartooning you, what you do, we are doing very well. Actually, I'm going to be taking out my wife to dinner with my daughter. Little Miss E is going to be coming with us. She's home, and so because it's her birthday tomorrow. She has the same birthday as Frank Frazetta. So feel free to wish her a happy birthday in the chat, guys. So what I would say, let's take a look at this piece right here. This piece. Here's how I destroy it. Right? I can't draw. I can't paint. Let's say I'm in a class and I do terrible drawings. I see this. I raise my hand. Don't you think that drawing is kind of problematic? Don't you think that, like, the way that he's drawing her, like, how old is she supposed to be? What's her ethnicity? What's the ethnicity of the artist drawing her? Do you guys get what I mean? Do you see the strategy? Sooner or later, you're going to get in line because you're going to get tired, is their goal. And a lot of students, and thank you guys, people are saying happy birthday in the chat. Yay, party time in the chat for Mrs. Ingetti. Happy birthday from Apex Comics. Colonel Zayd saying happy birthday. Cranberry Landers, yes indeed. Cranberry Landers says happy birthday, Mrs. Ingetti. Happy birthday, Mrs. Ingetti Alpha Channel. She's in the next room so she can hear me. There you go, yes. The heart drives their journey. You're absolutely right. Yeah, that's how you do it. And you think I'm kidding, But my college teacher, when I was in school, and I don't think I've ever told this story on a stream. My college comic book teacher when I was in school was David Mazzucchelli, and you'd say, wow, that's amazing, right? When I did an illustration assignment one time and had a female lead character, he said, I just want the women to talk about this. Is it okay for him to be drawing this? And it was like, do a story about somebody you know, and it was a funny comic about my soon-to-be sister-in-law. And then I was told, apparently, I didn't have a right to draw it. And I remember thinking, like, I look back on that now and how twisted that is, and ponder that for a minute. Happy birthday, Miss E, says Moromi. Great to see it. Yeah, it's right. 100%. 100%. Happy birthday, says Siege Perilous. Jeremy Burt saying happy birthday. That is absolutely right. Happy birthday, happy birthday. And that's right. Look at you guys. You guys are great. Drummer on fire. Yo, Sean. Yo, Drummer, what's up? And yes, happy birthday to Mrs. Ingetti, my better half. God bless her. So you figure out how to do that stuff really quickly. You can destabilize a classroom, right? And it goes, the whole aspect of it is, it's got nothing to do with anything other than it's a war on merit, right? It's a war on merit. It's got, if I thought they actually cared about those things, then that would all at least be less hypocrisy. And one of the things I realized when I came into Comicsgate, and one of the reasons why I do the things I do here, and just to be in this space, is you can say what you want to say, which is what art school used to be about. You guys remember Just Sweet Charlie and all that? They were pitching that until they weren't. But for a long time, it's been like that. We have got oh my gosh, a super chat from Michael Deitch. Thank you so much from Appreciate the Calming Art Discussion. My God, my pleasure. I hope it's calming and not getting annoying. It's a good distraction from the sitting with family. Oh my goodness gracious. Sitting with a family member in the hospital. She's doing well after some scary crises. My God, thank God. If you're a man of prayer, I am. Please remember us. I'll pray for her after the show is done streaming. Promise. I promise I will. Okay? I'm sorry to hear that, Michael. I'm sorry to hear that, my friend. I'm going to play you some cheerleaders. Play some cheerleaders in celebration of hopefully a very speedy recovery. Glad she's on the way. Charge! Charge! There you go, guys. Thank you so much. Actually, it's Mrs. Ingetti's birthday, but thank you for the birthday wishes. I will pass it along to her. Gary Close, great to have you with us. In our Sherwood Forest, I'm happy with our... Yes, exactly, 100%. Of course, Michael is... Absolutely. Absolutely. I had a high school art teacher who didn't like me, but took it out on my art. That happens too. It just made me more determined to do things my own way. It was a horrible experience, but it gave me a thick skin, and that's really the big thing that we're going to be talking about. Tammy, it's great to see you, channel member Tammy. How are you doing? I hope it's warm where you are. I'd like to think I could count on that. So yeah, if I were to go through every single book, look at this Star Trek, Star Wars piece Jason did. What a talent. If I were to go through this book and we were to look at all of the amazing things in here, and if I were to go through any number, look at the cartooning ability this guy had. If I were to go through any number of artists that we have here, I can attack every single one of their works without ever bringing up if they're actually skilled. And that, my friends, is what finally made me go, this is an insane asylum. I have to get out of here. Everybody is saying, hail, Tammy. Yes, indeed. Yes. So this is what my thinking is, right? In general right now, is that the idea of what administration has done and what administrators and accreditors and everything like this, there's been some pushback on it, but it's not sustained enough because they're in everything. They've basically created an environment where it's a very closed off environment. They can destroy your career by weaponizing, defamation basically against you. With students if they want to, and who would want to stay in an environment where that was a potential risk, right? And then they control things. So students and people outside are, because of YouTube, they're learning more, but they don't know what they're missing. They don't even know what they're missing. They don't see an alternative. Like, why am I not learning perspective? It's been 3 years of college. You know what I mean? And that was what I was like when I went to Brian, and Brian taught me perspective in 3 or 4 minutes. That was it. And I went, what am I doing here? Yep. Fly, fight, and crow, indeed. And so, for me, when I did my first art book, Autonomous Treks, that was a huge part of why I was doing it. I was doing it because I said, I'm going to paint stuff that they won't let me paint. And I thought I was pushing it a little bit when I was painting that stuff. Then I started realizing the process of, as I worked on this stuff, and you can see, I think, so much. People always talk about your influences, right? And it's like, I think you can see influences from so many people. What's up, Jimmy the Lumberjack? How are you doing? Hail, Shanth, and chat, shout out indeed. And hail to you, brother, and Comicsgate. Great to see you, man. It's anti-art because it's anti-beauty. And that is what this book was completely stand against when I did it. And I started seeing what happened was I started doing artwork on my own, posting it on Instagram with no fan following. And then within a couple of years, at the peak of Instagram, without any of the hijinks or spending money or any of that crap, they started doing later. I hit at my height, you guys could probably look this up, 38,000 followers on Instagram. It's nuts. And it was all based on the artwork. What's up, DJ? How are you doing? It's good to see you. Comic Books in Cahoots. I worked... Oh my gosh, my glasses just fell more. I worked doing commercial art for a shoe company that bugged me so much I quit to become a repo man for 2 years. All things considered, it was much less of a soul-crushing job than the art department. I wouldn't be surprised to hear that, honest to God. So I started basically illustrating and doing the things that I wanted to illustrate, which was, Hammer horror movies, things like this. This book is officially sold out. Mark's Music Obsession and others. Stuff like this, which I can slowly kind of wash over the camera, so people don't see too much, or YouTube doesn't see too much, hopefully. And then, of course, just playing around and pushing things further and further and further and doing the things I wanted to do in my book, including Nosfero. And when it came time to hit Comicsgate, we've got Zayd in the house, so we might as well say a little hello to the cover I did for Beckoned Recourse, which is his book. He's a mod, so he can absolutely throw stuff in there. Jimmy the Lumberjack, Jeremy, shout out back to you. There you go. Excellent. I love it. There's a lot of shout outs going back and forth. We're in a crossfire. So, yeah, I mean, for me, doing this stuff and approaching it, and approaching teaching the way I did, I thought, as they say in one of my favorite comedy bits of all time, Peter Cook and I'm blanking on his name. Peter Cook and Dudley Moore, Frog and the Peach. He goes, at the time I thought, rightly or wrongly, possibly both, that people would see the students getting jobs in the industry and getting better, and they would go, oh my gosh, we've got to hire this person. We've got to make this person full-time, or we've got to try to think about what he's doing right in his classroom and see if we can apply any of that there. I've never been like this about really anything, nor would I have thought to say that at the time, but I just assumed when I see people who do amazing things, I go, wow, that's awesome. I should learn something there. Not the case. Yep, still debating people who ask me to justify making characters exactly. Very attractive. Why bother, right? Why bother? So this is going to be a place where, yeah, it will be yours, Mark. You know it's true. You know it's true. So I was like, my attitude is when I'm doing this stuff, I was going through things, and this is why you guys will probably understand. Oh my gosh, how do I put this? So before I started the stream today, I thought of something that was really funny. When I was on the stream last Sunday, when I was doing the stream, one of the fun parts of doing the stream, of course, was, I believe it was Leighton who brought up Roger Dean's artwork. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have a Roger Dean book. I have to grab it. I don't know if I have a broad knowledge base of a lot of different things, but I will tell you what, I think it speaks more to the compatibility and speech impediments, compatibility of the folks in this space, man. But Fox and the Hound, there was a little children's illustrated book for it, And the children's illustrated book for Fox and the Hound had the fight between the fox and the bear. And they did this really crazy jagged teeth thing where the teeth weren't connected, this animation style drawing. And I remember seeing it and just thinking it was cool. And I drew it over and over again. And I would trace the book with notebook paper. And it was like carved up, that book. It was just totally nuts. So, let me see here. Let me catch up here. Oh, yes, it'll be mine. Justify making characters. Okay, yeah, justifying characters being attractive and all that stuff. So, when I started to do... I know everybody's always worried when I show this piece, and I don't know if I can make any guarantees, but yes. When I started doing the work that I'm allowed to do, she is dressed, that I'm allowed to do outside of academia, you can't see anything. Instantly, I started realizing all of the things I was not. I was self-editing like crazy as an artist, and I thought, how on this? Got to grab some Java. Okay, go to it, my friend. Get ready, art form. That doesn't help. That's right. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Let me see here. Yeah, it's such a good movie. Absolutely a great movie. So when I started looking at that stuff, I said, and yes, indeed, we got a happy Sunday from R.J. Williams. Happy Sunday to you, my friend. Jimmy the Lumberjack says, oh, Fox and the Hound, the book. I thought that was a reference to a night out on the sports bar. Jimmy, it was. Dressed in sweat, Shanth. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, here's the thing. About all of this stuff, right? If you have ever sort of had that sensibility that there really aren't a lot of places to make artwork or learn about artwork where you're getting to learn the things you want to know how to do or talk about the things you want to know, learn how to do, you're not alone. I was in the academic sphere and employed in it for a very long time, and quite often I was defending students from their classmates in terms of what they are and aren't allowed to draw. But there comes a tipping point where it's just mob rule. So many people no longer believe in those ideas of free expression that the sort of facade of free speech just falls down, and it's revealed for what it is. And I think that was the moment when I left was when I realized this is really scary. I had job security. I had again, depending on who when you look at it, you see people getting canceled left and right. I remember the first time I talked about Comicsgate, and it wasn't because I had a book, I had some big campaign, raised all this money. I was just like, I like these guys, and I like what they're doing, and I agree with a lot of this stuff, and I think it's just wrong in general. Some of the stuff that was going on, it was mirroring Jordan Peterson, all that stuff in my space. But I was nervous about it because people knew, and I thought I could get fired out of here in a minute. Like, these people are crazy. They don't care. And it's really wild. Academia is a double-edged sword. It can be great for learning and teaching, but like with any big organization, it can be restrictive. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is administrative percentage, but that's just me. I said it before, and I'll say it again. You paint the way I see my Jews. Oh, my God. Thank you, Comic Books and Coots. Walked right into a compliment due to my poor reading ability. Dang, it got me again. So, so when I started realizing that I couldn't draw, or I couldn't paint, or I couldn't do the things that I wanted to do, and the things, by the way, that I was recruited because I was good at that stuff. So one of the reasons I got into art school is because I had already done my first professional job before I even sent my application in. And so they were looking at, I've self-published 3 comics. I didn't even have my high school write a recommendation for me and do that stuff for me. I literally got in by sending my portfolio. They didn't even have my grades yet, for God's sake, which were solid, by the way. I wasn't allowed to slack. Super chat $5 from Cranberry Langers. Happy birthday, Mrs. E. Oh, she's gonna be so thrilled. Yeah. It's for those of you guys who are coming in now. It's my wife's birthday on Monday, so we're taking her out to dinner, and I will put that towards our tab, my friend. Thank you, Cranberry Langers, channel member, and let me get you a cheerleader, my friend. Let me get you a cheerleader. So, getting back to the stuff that I'm excited about and what I want to do for another show. And thank you, Cranberry Langers. You're freaking rock solid, ride or die. God bless you, man. Ghost GU. That's right. Ghost Goo? I don't know. I don't know how to say it. I hope I'm somewhere in the ballpark. It is great to see you here, my friend. So, just talking about the art thing and the stuff that we're doing here and the fun we're having and where we're going to go from here. And I don't know exactly what it's going to be. But from my experience when we're doing work and when we're in these situations, we never think to ask the opposite question, right? That the issue isn't because you're drawing a character of an ethnicity you're not allowed to draw, or you're drawing a figure that has the wrong, the socially unacceptable proportions, whatever you want to call it. Oh, Ghost Goo. Got it. Portfolio review. There you go. So whatever it is, it's because they can't draw a figure, period. And if classmates would redirect the question back at their censorious classmates, and if students would also ask, okay, well, can you show me how to draw a figure? You would see that Art School Confidential is practically a documentary of how that stuff works. And it blows my mind. Oh my gosh, Jimmy the Lumberjack with a $10 super chat. Dessert for the lady. Oh, I will tell her you bought dessert, my friend. Thank you, Jimmy the Lumberjack. I appreciate it, my friend. Let me get you some cheerleaders, brother. Charge! Charge! Yes, indeed. Thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate it, man. And so here's what cracks me up. And Bruce Campbell's chin, right on. I'm not a cat, so I can't draw cats. That's right. Exactly right. That's basically the philosophy. That kills me, man. You just I'm trying not to laugh so I don't start coughing, man. So, and yes, indeed, Mark's music obsession holding it down, brother. Always with the love, man. So this is the thing for me when I started thinking about this stuff, and I started realizing how many people that I had educating me at what was supposedly the Harvard of Art School who couldn't draw, couldn't illustrate, or any of that stuff. It really shocked me. And then I realized not only could they not teach me to do some of the basics, there were a few teachers. I had I had a good life drawing teacher. See if there was two. I had a teacher who actually let us do the things we wanted to do, who was an adjunct, but full-time faculty, you'd be hard-pressed. Let me go back to this, too, by the way. Super chat from Comic Books in Cahoots. Thank you, my friend. From Comic Books, happy birthday to your better half. Thank you so much. He is. I appreciate it, and we will put that towards the tab, brother. Thank you. Here's some cheerleaders. Charge! Charge! Amen. And that is exactly, Michael Dietsch, that is exactly what I'm trying to always say with Jason Pearson when you see him work. He just needed a little bit of water. Yep. See, I've said the same, says Colonel Zaid from a SCAD kid. Yep. And so you might have had the chance to meet Brian because he did used to go out there. And I know he used to do some workshops out at SCAD, certainly in Atlanta, but I think he also went out to the coast too, to Savannah, Georgia. So here's the bigger thing. So I'm getting a tinny vibration from this not having enough weight on it. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, great guy. Yes, indeed. Absolutely great guy. And so here's the thing, and here's my thinking on this stuff, right? Is that I know how I want to teach. I know how I've always taught. I didn't need anybody to teach me how to do it. I got my master's degree after I got my teaching career to allow me to move towards full-time positions. And we see where that got me. But so I always did things like I just knew how to teach. It was just one of those things. And I think that's something I should be doing here. What's up, Mike Wilson Art? It's great to see you. Hail, Sean, and chat. Looking good. Thank you so much. I hope you are doing well on this fine Sunday. Yeah, Brian is a great guy. If only the youth in classes would start fighting back. They're going to, trust me. There's going to be a pendulum swing. It's happening. It's absolutely happening because we were that. This stuff was going on when I was a student. It was a lot of nonsense, and then a bunch of us fought against it. But yeah, we were working against the curriculum 9 times out of 10 for what we wanted to do. And this is the crazy thing. Here's how you get paid to not do your job. All right, I'm going to show you an example. By the way, it's the best grift in teaching you'll ever see, and it's a common college thing. All right, students, let's take a look at the work. All right, first let's talk about this piece of artwork here by Steve. I don't know, we'll just say Steve. What do you guys think of it? Anyone else have any thoughts? So you think it could be this, you think it could be that. Interesting. Do you have any thoughts? What do you think about the thoughts they've had about your work? What do you guys think about his thoughts? Your thoughts? Okay, next. I didn't do any teaching there. And it could be repeated over and over and over again with every student. No demos, no nothing. Just a bunch of people with high school diplomas talking, no terminal degree and bachelor's, nothing, right? They're paying to learn more, but they're coming in there and doing the critique for you. It's crazy. Thank you, Colonel Zaid. I appreciate it, man. And that is the greatest head fake grift, period. So, a lot of you guys have seen this before, but I want to show you because I think it's a good... I'm really bad at pitching. That was a terrible pitch for anything. Right? So let me move Mark's painting. I love saying that. So, here we go. Let's we'll do something really simple that changed the way I viewed education and everything else that was going on when I was learning art. There's already a video of it. If you haven't seen it yet, it's better. It's just the audio is terrible, and probably this audio is too. Oh my gosh, a super chat from Art Ida. Yes, indeed. For the Mrs. Margarita Fund, absolutely. Or dessert, happy birthday to her. Either way, she will love it and appreciate it so much. Thank you so much, Art Ida. Here's some cheerleaders while I get this thing set up. Charge! Charge! So here we go, guys. Here is, and thank you, Art Ida. Here are the things that for me is what it's about. I went and I was talking to Brian, and Brian said to me, he goes, do you know what perspective is? And I said, yeah, it's a line on a piece of paper, then there's a ruler, then there's a lot of crying and screaming, and then everybody feels like they want to give up. And he was like, no, that's not what perspective is. Perspective is how high your eye is off the ground. It's your perspective. You're thinking about it from the first, you're the person looking. That's what it means. What's your perspective? And the horizon line is how high your eye is off the ground. So it's an actual number. So your perspective is your height minus however the distance is from, to your eyes. And I went, oh, okay. Can you show me what that means? Simple. If you're in a world full of 6 foot tall people and your eye height is the top of their head, then every figure who's the same height in that world, the line will touch the top of their head no matter where they are in that plane. And they will look like they are in perfect perspective because a 6 foot tall person's head will touch right where everything goes flat. That's it. And I went, but what about the ruler? What about the lines? Like, what about how that stuff works? And he said, well, same rules apply. Put a point anywhere on that line. All those figures are going to look like they're in perfect perspective, but it's not going to be as stiff. Am I wrong? Then he showed me 3 foot perspective, where the eye height is at their waist. I bet you can't imagine what happens there. Where the eye height was at the bottom of their feet. What's up, Mikey Getz? How you doing? Good to see you. And then he showed me my favorite one, which was when the eye height is way over their head. And he taught me perspective after, at least at that point, a couple of years of college. Brian taught me perspective in about 4 or 5 minutes. And I couldn't believe it. So he showed me things that were absolutely insane to me. One of those things, I'll do it up here, is he said, what if I've got a horizon line? Let me move. Can you guys see that okay? What if I've got a horizon, or eye height, that's 12 feet. My arm is very contorted right now. And I've got 6 foot tall people. He goes, what do you do? What do you do, kid? What do you do? And I was like, I don't know. It's not touching the line. And he said, oh, all you got to do is think 2 people is 12 feet because they're 6 feet tall. Drop down any amount and make that figure go down, be the same height as the amount you dropped down. Right there. And if you do that, all of the figures, no matter where they are in space, are going to be in perfect perspective. Then you put a dot on there. And look at that. Everybody feels like they're on that plane. And where on earth was that explanation of 1 point perspective? You said it. You said it very well, actually, as far as this, right? It's like the 3 point perspective, the 2 point perspective. Imagine you've got graduating seniors at, again, a place that touts itself as the Harvard of Art Schools, but let's just say any art school. Doesn't matter. Their job is to teach you art, and nobody knows perspective. I've seen high school students with better perspective, and that drives me crazy because it shouldn't be that way. Not for the money, not for the time, not for the resources. So what I want to do with this show is I want to take a look at actual artwork, give actual notes, and explain how certain things work. That's kind of my plan. That's what I really want to do. And I want to share some things I found in my one of my resource folders, just because it was interesting to me. Actually, you know what? I think I'll save that. I'll save that. But yeah, that's how you think about it. Yep, seriously, this perspective breakdown is cool, and it's just the tip of the iceberg, guys. That's the tip of the iceberg of the stuff we can do. Someone can show me a piece of artwork, and it's so much easier to look at the stuff and go, this is what you're trying to do. Here's how we get you there. And that's one of the things I think could be interesting. I've just got to figure out how to make it work, because this show right here is my priority. And I think I might do it when I used to do Pizza Live, and then I can throw in the occasional Pizza Live, because YouTube is so horrendous with YouTube and then trolls, right? That might be the best trip for it. You can thank Brian Stelfreeze and his mentors for that, because it changed my life. Like when I do perspective, I stopped being afraid. Yep, totally works as Mike Wilson art. Yep, perspective is one of the principles of art. It absolutely is, Colonel Zaid. And this is how Brian taught. I think Ethan's even drawn it this way and showed it this way. But you shouldn't be struggling with 1 point perspective at that point. So there's my perspective thing. So now here's what I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you guys the Pizza Live. That's right. I'm actually working on something right now for that, so it'll happen. We'll figure out a way. It's just they're driving me crazy. So now I want to show you guys just a sneak peek at what I'm thinking about for the show, and also what I mean when I say bare knuckle art school and what a pain I am. Because this was my attitude. Actually, you know what? Now I do have to show this. Hang on a second. I'm a man of distraction and insanity. Where the heck is it? Nope. It should be. Here we go. I'm not trying to put anybody on blast or anything like that, but these were public testimonials for the time. But so that's how it's going to go. These used to be on my website, but why is it doing that? No. Hang on. So annoying. And then I got to wrap up here. Hang on a second here. Let's go here. File, open with preview app. That makes my life a little bit easier. View. No, not hide toolbar. View, show. Let's do hide sidebar. Is that what I wanted? There we go. Okay, now this stuff is for people who are still doing some pretty incredible work, but let me show this to you real quick so everybody can understand what it is that I was doing when I did this stuff. So let's do, sorry again for how slow I am in general. Screen share, there we go. And now we're gonna go and do, let's do preview. There we go. All right, here you guys go. This is what these are some of my former students, and these are their testimonials. You can pause them. The testimonials aren't really the thing. I was teaching hundreds and hundreds of students back in the day. I've taught a ton, and I know I've helped a lot of people that might just be better artists in their life. It doesn't matter where they're going with it, but this is the kind of stuff I used to do. She was going to be great anyway. My brother Nick helped her, I got to be honest, but I think I helped her with certain things. I know I helped her get a raise by giving her some feedback on how to ask for one, which was fun, but great student. You guys know this cat. He wrote the intro to my second art book, Cameron Scott Davis, Guitar Hero concept art, and he also was featured. That's his Gnomon Workshop video. That's a screen share. We're both a little bit older than we were when that picture was taken. Cameron Davis excerpt from Gnomon Workshop character design. So there you go. Guys, go if you're curious what I was doing. And of course, another student, Jen Hom, who was the lead Google Doodler and did some of the Google Doodles back when they were awesome that you guys know well, including the Windsor McKay one, the Mary Blair one, and all that stuff. And I remember when the Windsor McKay or Mary Blair, I forget which one it was, she sent me a private message on Facebook and goes, I hope it at least lives up to you, man, because I introduced her to a lot of that stuff. And it was like, I hope you like it because I want you to like it. So that's what I was doing with my time, and that's the work I was doing that nobody was seeing me do. So when people ask, how do you know all of these people, and how do you know a lot of people in the industry and blah, blah, the answer is, yes, I do know a lot of people. And tanning meat barbecue, there you go. 5-point perspective, my gosh. Yeah, I've seen fisheye lens perspective. You guys know. Gnomon, yep. So a lot of these guys, when they're coming through school, they have talent, they have work, but you help them through this particular time and help them to learn how to do things. And so that's some context for it. So now I'm going to show you guys what my teaching philosophy was. By the way, I should say, the Google Doodler student of mine said something I loved because she said it in front of me, which I liked. She goes, my best teacher didn't teach at either one of these, any of the schools I went to, including myself. She goes, my best teacher was at a state college I went to before I went to RISD. And she goes, and he ripped me to shreds. He said all this work is, and used some colorful language. And I thought, that's the case. That's the case. So yeah, there you go. Gnomon, look at all this crazy stuff. So here you guys go. Here's a look right now at what I'm thinking for the show. And we'll see where it goes. Craziness. Let's see. Here we go. Everybody's saying hi, Jimmy the Lumberjack. I'll make sure I'm missing anything. Did I miss anything? Let me know. There we go. All right, cool. And I feel like Michael Dietsch had something very helpful, even for those of us who are technical engineers. Yes, exactly right. Yes. Yeah. And well, because that's all the same thing. That's actual art, right? Oh, Michael, I got to show you something, but I can't. I need more time. I just got a complete encyclopedia of World War, all fighter aircraft in history, and it's all the cutaways and schematics. It's an old book, and I got to show that to you. So let me see here. All right, so here you guys go. Here's a look at the concept idea for the show right now as it stands. We're doing little Y files where he shows concepts of shows and figures out how to do it. Later, we'll see here. Okay, let's see how it goes. So yeah, so that's what I'm looking at. That was the approach that usually shockingly worked, which was telling people how to actually fix things, telling people what was wrong, telling people they could do better. That is what it's about. Yeah, and one of my all-time favorite teachers of all time, who was a boxing coach, of course, is Customato, and Customato had that wonderful quote, discipline is doing something you hate as if you love it. And that is what study can sometimes be. That's what comics can be. That's what talking to printers can be. That's what it all can be. So we're going to have some fun, and we're going to do some very, very cool stuff. I'm going to try to figure out the logistics of that right now. and how to put it together, but I think I'm putting it together. I've had this idea and the name for the show for, I think, probably 5 years, maybe more. It's been because, of course, the education thing, but I don't think I was feeling it. Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah, I see the production areas for some of those aircraft. My God, dude, that's awesome, Romy. Love that stuff, because I know you're a frequent flyer. Let me see here. Yeah, that's the plan, so we'll see where it goes. Someone asked me one time about my classes. They said, I want to take your class because you're brutally honest. And I remember saying, there's no need for brutality. It's just honesty. Usually artists know if you're capable of learning, you do a million things wrong. You're just dying for someone to help you fix it. And it is, criticism is very catty, 100%. So I keep saying I'll leave you with this thought. This one is sincere, and this is the one, because otherwise I'm going to get in trouble soon. So this is the thing. The last semester I was teaching on site, on campus, because this was before the lockdowns. A teacher had brought into work a new book that had just come out that was talking about the problematic aspect of the power dynamic between critiquer and critique-e. I just want you to think about that for a second. They tried to turn the relationship between an artist who knows more, your teacher, who was, oh, I got you. Thanks, Mikey. You're cracking me up, man. And I said, what are you talking about? And she's like, I've got like 5 copies of the book. They're always like that. They always got 8 copies of the book they want to hand out. It's weird. They're like missionaries of a bizarre kind. And I said, if we're the same thing, why are they paying tuition? It doesn't make any sense at all. It was insane. It's not a power dynamic. It's a competency. Thank you, Jordan Peterson. It's a competency differential. I'm more competent than them and most people. When I see someone who's in this particular region, when I see somebody who is more competent in a way, I'm excited and I want to learn from them. I don't want to tell them what I don't know because I don't know it. Yeah, there's some fine technical illustrators out there, absolutely many, with other backgrounds in commercial art, 100%. And that's the thing. Question, how do you feel about the total newbies participating, or is it just some base level? It's got to be some base level of competency, I would imagine. But we'll see where it goes. There's a lot of people asking for feedback on their books right now, and I figure, here's how I look at it. Going forward with what the stuff that I want to do, I think the best thing I can do is when people get to that sort of in-between stage, where they're drawing comics, they're working, they're putting a lot of time in, but they're hitting those walls that often get hit. I think if you look at that stuff, and if they have to want the feedback, because I'm not going to just grab random stuff and do it, and I want people to like know what they're getting. It's not like, it's such a gift. It's like why I get angry about the thought of doing it again, because I'm like going, because you get, people hate, you have students who are like, why are you being mean to me? I'm like, I already know this stuff. Good luck. Anyway, but we need, and that's the other thing. We also need people. There needs to be a process of looking at work too, just in general, for all artists and illustrators. And since the whole editorial thing with Mark Chiarello and all those guys being gone has collapsed, I just think people always need someone to get a better understanding of art. We need more education. There's different stuff out there. But I think, just to sort of finish that point, that it's going to be good for everybody, because when you see something that's, the first step is to make artwork that's critiquable. Once it's critiquable, then that's like, that's like the next sort of step. Then you have things to do. And I think sometimes it's, I don't know, I think it could be interesting. No idea where it'll go. Don't know how it'll work. But yeah, I think just getting used to how to look at work critically, because we have this void in education, and how to draw comics the Marvel way and stuff can only do so much, and hopefully it'll get people to realize more than anything what they're missing, and that they should be getting more when it comes to education, because I think they're not getting as much as they should. All right, guys, I got to get ready for dinner and get things together. Many eyes, light hands, indeed. Feedback from pros can be invaluable, but we also have the advantage of chat. Yes, absolutely, guys. 100%. 100%. All right, you guys, thank you, Simply Green, and thank you all of you guys for being here from the heart of Lovecraft Country and the birthplace of American religious liberty. My name is Sean Jetty. You've been watching Sean Jetty Art, Comics and Curios inside the studio. It's always a blast hanging out with you guys, showing you books by my mentor, and an incredibly talented artist that we lost recently. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, agreed. It's just, I will tell you, after the thought of it, the reason why it's such an exhausting thought to me is just, I did it for 20 years, and then I'm kind of like, I feel like Kirk in Wrath of Khan. You know, is it a waste of resources, you know, to not do what I do? It's weird. Anyway, thank you so much. And take care, guys. I appreciate all of you guys. As I always like to say, speak easy, stay gold, keep the faith, and peace be with you guys. Give nihilism no quarter. And I have updated the credits. Thank you, Cranberry Landers. Thank you, Mikey Getz. Thank you, Comics and Cahoots. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Leighton Gay. All right, take care, guys. You have a great night, too. I'm going to go and have fun with the birthday girl and our daughter, Little Miss E, and I will see you guys very soon. Dan's trouble. Oh, it was excellent. Excellent. Yeah, Dan's an outstanding drafts person, and you should check out his channel, too, because he does a lot of drawing and all of that stuff and going over these things. Adios, gentlemen. Take care, guys. Thank you, Shadowhawk Talks. I will see you guys very, very soon. Enjoy yourselves. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your Sunday, and thank you for spending some of it with me. I do appreciate it. You're very, very welcome, Corey Landis. Thank you. Infamous Mr. Kurtz, always a pleasure, and thank you for being first in chat, my friends. Good to see you. All right, guys. I will see you guys soon. Take care. Have a good one, and I did update the channel member credits, God willing, and the creek don't rise. Here you go.